Most of us don't actually express how we feel. We hold it in, we stay composed, we try to stay calm, and then eventually we explode. And the sad part is that it's usually on the people we love the most. And after that, we feel guilty and ashamed and confused, and we're just left wondering why that even happened again. And if that's you, it's not because there's something wrong with your mind. It's not. It's because your body is holding in a charge that it hasn't released yet. And that is the part that is usually missed in our rewiring journey. I'm Callie, and I used to think that if I could just understand myself enough, that I would stop reacting the way that I did. That I was just so self-aware and I knew all my patterns and I knew where they came from, and yet I was still reacting the same way. And this is because awareness doesn't move energy. Awareness in the mind does not remove the energy that the body is storing. Expression does. So just think about it. We've been taught to process everything mentally by journaling, going to talk therapy, maybe even doing hypnosis. Everything has been really revolved around the mind and what the mind is capable of doing. But we have this body here with us, and the mind and body is one. The steps mentally doesn't complete a full mind-body cycle, because your patterns of behavior, your way of being, doesn't just live in your thoughts. It lives in your mind, in your expression, in the way that you live. And that's why you can say, I'm never gonna act like that again. And then before you can even say that sentence 3 times, you do it again. If you can relate to this, comment below and share a common pattern of behavior that's been maybe tough for you to get rid of. You're not alone here, and this is not because you lack the discipline. It's because your body's holding in the charge. So this is where it shifts. Somatic release is really just allowing your body to do what it was meant to do. Nobody invented somatic release. It's an experience. Just like an animal, after it escapes danger, once it's in a safer space, it shakes or it howls or it makes a sound. It does something to express that held in energy. But what happened with us is we societally haven't been allowed to do that anymore. And we learned to suppress it, and now we can't feel safe emotionally releasing because it's weird. So instead of releasing it, we store it in the body. And that's not useful. It's not helpful, because that stored energy turns into tension and reactivity and shutdown and overwhelm and patterns that we really just don't like about ourselves. It's the things that we look back on and go, oh shit, I did that thing again. And that's why you can feel like you're doing everything right and you still just feel stuck, because the body hasn't let go. And so what does this somatic release, what does this actually look like? It is so simple, and you're actually in control the entire time. I've done different methods of somatic release. I've been on this journey for over 10 years, so let's just say I've tried a lot of things. But there are a lot of interpretations of somatic release. And really, some of them I've done personally through guidance. Some of them I've practiced on my own through my own modalities and reading. But ultimately, there are 4 elements to release that resonated strongly with me and were the most impactful for me. So I'll share those 4 with you. So these 4 elements are key in releasing that energetic charge so that you can start to lay a proper foundation to a new way of being. And I'll introduce how to actually create that new way of being in my next videos, because this is a series. But let's dive in. Number 1 is to find a safe space. So safety is the most important part here, in my opinion, because safety, it signals parasympathetic mode, the rest and digest state. And that's really important because that's the only place where we can create change. And this is where we actually begin to move things. Like I said, a deer doesn't shake until the startle is over. So what I do to create safety is, obviously physically I create safety, but I use this method called the pause method. The pause is just helpful in every aspect of my life, but it's incredibly helpful in creating safety before I do somatic release. This is the pause that I use in every part of my life. I use it in every situation and everywhere because it works. You can find the video for my pause sequence in the Regulate playlist. So if you want to go back and do a deep dive, go ahead. Here's what you're going to do. We're going to breathe, focusing on a stronger exhale. And then we're going to feel into the senses. So what I do, you can use smell, taste, touch, sight, hearing. And I usually just visualize a space for me that feels really peaceful and feels safe. So that for me is in the beach in Maui with my feet in the sand and the sun setting. I visualize that. And then I go into my hand on heart, realizing that I am human, just like everybody else, going through this journey, making mistakes, and it's okay. That's self-compassion. And then I move into a hum. So I usually hum a tune or I hum an om, and that's going to help stimulate the vagus nerve. It's going to help manually bring our body into a more parasympathetic state. So this is the pause. I just do it all the time and it really works. So the second step, we're going to choose what it is that we are releasing. This is really important, so don't skip over this part. Do not picture yourself in the activation itself. You're not going to picture yourself in the stimulating environment, because what that can do is, for me, it reactivates things, and I don't want to lose control of the situation. I want to focus on my response to a situation, an unhelpful response that I do often that is not helpful for me in cultivating my abundant, rich life. So what I do is I pick one behavior that is not helpful. Maybe it's people pleasing, maybe it's overburdening yourself, maybe it's avoiding, or maybe it's running into anxiety spirals. Whatever that is, pick one response. You can say, I'm done with this, I don't need this anymore. The third step is to move and make noise. This is the actual release part, because sometimes your body really needs to express what words can't. And that can look like yelling, sighing, humming, shaking, stomping, jumping on a trampoline, hitting a pillow, moving your arms, doing something safe, but a way that's gonna express. You can even stomp while you're walking, picking a way that's going to be helpful to you in order to actually release the energetic hold that you've created an intention in releasing. So you've created an intention, and now you're going to intentionally release that energy by saying, I don't need you anymore. You're not working in my life. I'm safe now, and I can choose a better response. You release that stored energy. Now, this doesn't have to look good. Doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to feel authentic to you, and it can be as little as 1 to 2 minutes. And then stage 4, complete the cycle. Remember this piece, come back into safety, because safety is signaling to the nervous system, I actually don't need this. I actually can hold myself. I actually am safe. And it's really reiterating safety and your ability to choose the new way of being that you're going to create moving forward. So this sequence is my somatic release method. I'll explain it really quickly again. You're pausing, you're shifting into parasympathetic mode. You're identifying the behavior or the reaction that is unhelpful, not paying attention to and focusing on the actual activating moment. You're paying attention to your response. You're using sound and movement to release the stored energy with the intention of releasing one response or one way of being that is not helpful to you. And then you're going to move back into that parasympathetic mode, that safety, and you're going to reiterate to the nervous system that you are safe and you in fact do not need that response anymore. Start small. If I can say one thing, don't go crazy on this to start. Start small. Start with a small behavior, a small reaction that's kind of annoying that you really don't want to have in your life anymore. Because once you can start to train the body and the mind to say that this is a very safe practice, you're going to get more comfortable with it. And once that energy starts to release, everything changes. Your intensity drops. You have space to create a new way of being. And this is the step that most people are skipping. They're just skipping over it. And this is why patterns of behavior keep coming back, because you have stored energy. And when you release it, you do not just feel different, you create the space to respond differently. And that's the difference. If this resonates, what is one pattern that you're excited to start to release energetically? Comment below. I'd really love to hear from you. In my next video, I'm going to show you how I personally rewire my patterns of behavior so that I can choose more helpful, aligned ways of being that resonate with me in my life. So subscribe if you want to see that video, because ultimately, once you release, you make a space for something new. See you in the next video.